Come on. I'm gonna have to get some fly spray or some bug spray. These mules are real tender right here, and I can feel she's getting bit right there. When it gets hot down here, it's terrible. She lost a little weight. It's those little bugs. There they are. I see them right here. Nasty. I'll get some wipe or fly spray. I have to start doing that every day. Wiping them down. She's real thin skinned for a mule. She must have had a real breedy mother. There you go. That's how you use a morale. You know, my son-in-law, married to my youngest daughter, sent me a link to a video of Kevin Costner. I'll try to find it on YouTube, and I'll put a link down in the description. And he's receiving an induction into, I don't know, it's the Western Heritage, something in Oklahoma. But it's about him making, you know, Western movies or cowboy movies and everything. And it's real interesting, it's real entertaining to listen to. Lost your privileges there, sweetheart. I don't think you'd leave me, but anyway. And he talks about how when he was a kid, the experiences he had influenced what he became. And, you know, he talks about going to Disneyland and them having that Grand Canyon ride. I guess they had regular little donkeys and that you could, real donkeys that you could ride. And I'm gonna take that off you. You're just fighting it now. I think you got all the goodie out of it. Yeah, you did. Didn't take you long, did it? And then, you know how when he was a kid, he was always playing, you know, like cowboys and Indians. And also how a neighbor down the road had a pony. And he used to go ride that pony all the time. No, sweetheart, leave me alone. And that's not hay. That's not hay. You gotta hog the show, don't you? Man, I hate those little gnats. Anyway, and he talked about how it influenced him and how those things that influenced him when he was young is why he makes movies today. And it got me to thinking about when I was a kid. I mean, I remember watching Westerns with my dad. And then I remember we always rode. I mean, that was just something we did. My dad was a horseman, or is a horseman. He's still alive at 90. And we rode. I mean, that's what we did. You get out of school, you know, we went and we rode, you know, and we were always competing and doing this and that and going places. But then, as I got older, the horse was my transportation. And I'm talking about when I was probably 5th grade, 6th grade, 5th, 6th, 7th grade, something like that. A horse was my transportation. It was my freedom. we weren't allowed to ride with a saddle. We had to go, I had an old roan gelding that we call Poco. He's Poco Bueno bred. And we had to ride, I had to ride him bareback because Dad, well, what is wrong with you? For safety reasons, and also, we're just gonna stay tied up for a long time. How about that? I got her tied up too long. I'm gonna have to shorten it up. We weren't allowed to ride with a saddle. It was for safety reasons, because, I mean, I think my dad told my mom, said, you know, you don't want them out with a saddle because they could get hung up and get drugged or something like that. But I think honestly, my dad was always worried that I would get off somewhere and get off my horse, and the horse would get away from me, and somebody catch the horse and steal the saddle. So we rode bareback everywhere. And it was like my freedom, my access to, you know, I could just go. And the only rule I had is that I had to be back by dinner time. But I went everywhere. I went up in the sandhills. I went down to the river. We had ditch banks there. I was raised in, well, at that time, when I was that young, we lived in Corrales. And there was ditch banks everywhere. And you could just go just about anywhere. And then later on, I remember at night, after I got older and we'd moved out to the ranch, I used to watch Gunsmoke every night at 10:30.
Gunsmoke, starring James Arness as Matt Dillon.
I stayed up late back then. No. And my favorite episodes was when Matt Dillon was loading up and he was going somewhere, and I can still see him, you know, sitting out there with a campfire. I always wondered how they had where they carried their coffee pot, because he didn't ever have a pack mule that I knew of. And sitting there by the fire, drinking coffee, you know, and whatever would happen, but he'd have a destination. And then the same thing with, one of my favorites was How the West Was Won. And this is later on How the West Was Won with Boxleitner.
Charlie?
And I'm having a brain fart. It had Bruce Boxleitner and Marshall Dillon in it. What the heck? Jeb McCahan was his name. Anyway. And there was always like destinations. They were going somewhere. There was, you know, they had like a mission, and they were traveling through the country. They were traveling. And then the books I used to read, I read these fantasy books. I read The Hobbit.
I'm looking for someone to share in an adventure.
An adventure?
On an adventure!
Long time ago, like in 1982, I guess, 81, 82. And then I read the Trilogy of the Rings, you know, another J.R. Tolkien book. But they had a destination. They were going somewhere. They had a place to go, and they were cutting through the country. You know, and not riding, you know, not on buggies or spaceships or anything like that. They were either hiking, walking, or they were riding. A lot of times they were riding. So I was thinking, you know, how did that? And when I was a kid, before I rode that roan gelding, Poco, my dad bought me it was a Welsh pony. The meanest animal alive. That thing threw me all the time. I remember being up in the hills when I was a kid, and I got these little pair of chaps, my first pair of chaps. They had pockets, and I remember finding a little baby horny toad, getting off that little West pony, no, and taking that horny toad and sticking it in my pocket and taking it home. And when I got home, he was dead. He was smashed in my pocket. And I remember wearing those little pair of cowboy chaps all over the place. I remember wearing them to the neighbor's house down there. I don't know. But anyway, you know, it kind of makes you wonder, those kind of things that happen to you when you're young, how they shape what you like to do after you get older. I know now, you know, I can come up here and ride. And this is probably just an easy day. I'm doing it more just to train this mule and get this mule exposed and me get confidence in her, really, and get the dogs out and exercise them. But I can't wait. I have destinations I want to go to. I have places I want to go. I want to travel long distances on mule, you know, just like they did back in the old days, you know. And I'm not a traditionalist in the sense that, you know, I'm going to use all mountain man gear. I like to use my modern gear. But I know I've had criticism that my name, born 100 years too late, and then me using a Garmin and doing stuff like that doesn't fit. But anyway, I'm like right in between those two worlds. I got places to go, you know, things I want to see, and that's why I'm so excited about this mule. And I wanted to make sure I did her right. I didn't cause a mistake. Agnes was good. Jet was good. But this mule has some things about her that I think's a lot better than those two mules. And I want to, and another thing, I'm still going to go out and lope my do my circles and my figure eights and my basic, you know, training like I would on a horse. And if she moves around pretty good, I might even go rope some steers on her. But I can't help it when I get down to this point. You know, I want to go. I want to climb up the hills. I want to go, you know, some different places. But I'm going to ride up this old soft, dry arroyo. Let Bonnie see some different country. Exercise those dogs. If I can get out of here, I've never seen it so dry. I'm in four-wheel drive, and really I was just about stuck right here where I'm at. Anyway, she ate her breakfast. Oh, this morning, you know, it was about the third morning out. I had a really, really hard time catching her. I had to chase her around in the pen. I thought, oh man, I don't want another mule like that. And Clyde, AKA Cody, he's always standoffish. He doesn't want you to come next to him. He has no interest in you. He's not mean or he's not scared. He don't run off. He'll just kind of walk away, and then you got to walk to him. He's kind of looks at you like he might, you know, like he doesn't really like you. Not like Bonnie. She's usually all right. But anyway, that third day, I had to chase her around. This morning, both her and Clyde met me at the gate. And I think, I don't know, but if somebody came to your house and picked you up every morning and took you to breakfast, you'd probably be meeting them at the door. You'd probably be ready to go. If they said they're going to be there at 8 o'clock, you'd be ready to go. So I think bringing her out here and feeding her, or bringing her out, catching her, bringing her out and feeding her, I think that works. I think it makes it easier for them to be caught in the morning. I believe. I could be wrong, but I think it does. I'm going to go with that until I'm proven wrong. Let's put it that way. Anyway, Mrs. Bonnie, let me get that breast collar on you and get your bit in your mouth, and I'll put some boots on. I'm going to wear some spurs today, let those dogs loose, and let's ride up the canyon. Our destination today is let's go up the canyon, and then let's climb out of the canyon, make us a loop, and come back down one of these side canyons. Just a couple hours, not a big long ride, just enough. Does that sound all right? All right. As my good YouTube friend says, Jeff, onward and upward.